Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Alice Fife, and I work as Jeff's planning and development assistant for Kitchissippi. And we're here today to talk about we're having a pre-construction meeting regarding the approved development at 266 and 268 Carruthers. And we have Taberge here to talk to us. And after that, we can have residents ask some questions. I think everyone here on the call knows one another, but Jason, I don't think we've met yet. My name is Alice. Nice to meet you.
Just as well.
Everyone else, do you want to just go ahead and make a quick intro, and then we'll hand it over to Taberge.
I'm Linda Hode. I'm the chair of the Hinchinburg Community Association Zoning Committee.
Okay.
I'm Paulette Dozois. I'm a member of the zoning committee, and I live on where do I live? 329 Hinchy, right in your backyard for the new development.
And I'm Cheryl Parrott, and I sit on the zoning committee as well.
Okay.
I'm Jeremy Silbert. I represent the builder in this particular case. My title is Director of Planning, Acquisition, and Development, so I handle planning, development files as well as the building permit approvals. And we have with us Jason Curran, who's our in-house construction manager for Taberge.
So seeing as we're just a very small group today, we'll keep it pretty informal. Jeremy and Jason, I'll hand it over to you now. And if you would just like to give us all a little reminder of what's been approved and then go into your plans for construction, that would be great. And then after that, Paulette and Cheryl and Linda, we can deal with questions after that.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a construction project will take place at 266 and 268 Carruthers Avenue. It's phase 2 of a multi-res development project in conjunction with 177 Armstrong, which was completed back in May, substantially completed back in May. And although we're still finishing up little tiny things here and there, mostly complete as anyone would see from the outside with the landscaping done. So part 2 is first phase 1 was a 33 unit building on Armstrong. The phase 2 is an 18 unit development that will face Carruthers Avenue. They're a unique property and they share a large rear amenity space yard in the back, which is why you haven't seen any landscaping in the backyards. I imagine Paul has noticed that, but it'll be somewhat of a construction staging and we're going to make a mess back there before we finish up. But landscaping will come in the spring for that whole area and hopefully for the rest of the building. The building will be constructed in a traditional manner, panelized, but still a stick frame, traditional concrete foundation. As you guys are aware, it's a rock area. So there will be chipping, no blasting, just chipping. It will be the same as 177 Armstrong. There is a sub basement where mechanicals are held. We also need a collection area for sewer and storm and sanitary. So we have a storm and sanitary pits at the front, which will be deep as well. As you know, the sewers aren't particularly deep in this area, so we have to pump up for them. So we have to have a collection pit that can withstand more than just it's a larger pit because you're accumulating it. The pump gives you some reservoir time, so the pump's not running all the time. So it'd be a little bit of a deeper foundation, although there is a lot of excavation already done because the previous houses had foundations there. So a lot of the rock's been chipped in those areas, but there's still definitely gonna be some chipping and excavation. We should have chippers on or excavator on site with a chipper probably next week to begin at least that rudimentary excavation chipping work. That'll take a bulk of it, and we're still trying to push fast because we have winter conditions coming. We want to get our concrete poured, so that's sort of the timeline. We're facing a little bit of a crunch there. So as we push along, so from that point of view, you'll see similar construction process to 177 Armstrong. We're hoping for a little bit tighter timeline on this one. It's a smaller building, about half as many units. The footplate's about a half as much. So hopefully we cut the construction period in half, but it's more likely we'll probably see a 12-month construction period. I think, Jay, if you had a more specific timeline, but I think probably around 12 months. on this one. Give or take some winter conditions we'll have. And yeah, that's so I got about it. We'll have the site office in 177 Armstrong. Site area the portion that we're building on will be fenced, just kind of like as you see it today. So the backyard will get fenced in as part of the construction area, and then the remainder of 177 Armstrong will be open as it's a occupied building with tenants. So kind of the way you'll see the fences will be the way it'll be there. Yeah. So no demo work for everybody. The house is already down on that point of view, but yeah, I don't know, Jason, anything to add to the construction rollout info for them? You're on mute. Oh, there you go.
I don't think there's too much from my end. I think your timeline is about right. And yeah, as for getting chippers on site within a week or two, yeah, everything looks good. Looking forward to starting.
And you'll be posting the contact number and name kind of information for people who hear things they don't understand or see things they don't like, as in, you know, as I say, there are things can happen that are not necessarily related to the construction. It's good to be able to get in touch quickly.
Yeah, on the notice of project, you mean?
Mm.
No. Yeah, that'll be posted.
But will you have the contact phone number up there, or will it be just the standard construction stuff? Because as you remember in your project on Armstrong Street, the fence fell in at least once, and that was during the weekend. So being able to contact people, I did try to contact you, but the number didn't work. So it was up to bylaw.
You'll see, I'll make sure the notice of project is posted through the duration of the project, but that's about the only place. My phone number will definitely be on there, my name and phone number. I don't want to advertise my phone number to just everybody on the fence.
Have you given it to neighbors? And can we get it now?
Yeah, my phone number is 613-410-1020.
So Jason, just to confirm, you will be the primary contact, like if, for instance, if there's an issue with the fence or something happens after hours, like Cheryl would be able to call you?
Yeah.
Okay. Paulette, you have a question?
Do you anticipate how long the chipping will be? Because it can be pretty loud. I know it's not blasting, but the chipping on Armstrong and the other one on Carruthers beside went on for some time, and I'm not complaining about it right now. I know what it sounds like, but I have new neighbors coming in, and I want to just sort of give them a heads up.
Yeah, a lot shorter than Armstrong. So Armstrong, there was only that one apartment or one duplex or whatever that was there, and then that tiny, tiny little commercial building. So if you imagine that's a 6,000 square foot floor plate, and probably had to chip for I would probably 5,000 square feet of that. Like probably most of it had never had any excavation on it, right? It was undisturbed rock essentially. In this particular case, the two houses were there. That took up quite a bit of chunk, and then we have an addition back to it. So we're probably only chipping out, I don't know, Jay, maybe 2,000 square feet of rock, right? So like probably less than half of what we had at Armstrong. There's no elevator in this building. Like it's a lift only, so there's no elevator pit. So that extra deep portion of it, there is a sub basement for mechanicals, but it's a much larger sub basement. It's a lot deeper down at Armstrong. So there's a lot of things that'll make it significantly quicker than what we had at Armstrong. I don't know, Jay, probably 3 weeks, on my guess, if I had to take a guess at it.
Yeah, well, it's in the winter too, so our windows are closed, so it will be
Yeah.
a bit better.
Yeah. Chipping and excavation together, I would say, is probably 3 weeks, right, Jay?
Yeah, that'd be my guess. It's
Yeah.
really hard to tell, but
Yeah.
So parking for the construction workers?
There's no temporary construction for parking lot. parking for construction workers. It's a complete build of the infill site.
So they're just gonna park on the street.
They'd have to abide by whatever local city bylaws for parking. Yeah.
Okay. And in the winter time, just to give you a heads up, which we're coming into, is Carruthers is so narrow that when you get snow, you can't really park there much.
Yeah.
Or else, people run into you. So that's just a heads up. And I'm sure Alice has told you that there's a whole bunch more construction projects on Carruthers going on at the same time as well. So there's a total of 1, 2, 3, probably 4 plus you in those 2 blocks, I
Yeah.
guess.
It'll be a
One of
busy
them is
place.
almost across the street from you at 171 Armstrong. It's the corner of Armstrong and Carruthers.
Yeah.
CCOC is starting a new build there in the next few weeks. And then I mentioned the email this morning, and then further up the street towards Scott, they have another site at 212 Carruthers. They're going to be starting there as well. And there's already another site under construction at 178 Carruthers. They're just finishing excavation. And I also heard today that the property at 243 Carruthers, they've got a building permit in for a triplex. So it's gonna be a lot going on in that one stretch between Scott and Armstrong this winter.
And the thing is, like Cheryl's right, Crothers is very much more narrow than, let's say Hinchy, where I'm at. And you really can't park there in the winter. It's just, there's no room.
You could offer them a right of way through your backyard, Paulette, and charge them $10 a trip. Well, maybe
Except-
5. If they're nice.
Yeah, Jeremy would have to take down that nice fence they put up,
Oh,
though.
well, they
Oh,
could
they're
make
paneled sections. We could take them out. Hey, if you want to do it, we'd be happy to park construction trucks back there. I mean, getting access back there would be great.
Well, actually, it just
Yeah,
occurred
well,
to
talk
me.
money. We'll talk money. Okay, Jeremy?
Make us an offer, Jay. Make us an offer. We'd be happy to look at that. I mean, to be honest, that space, once we're done excavation, I mean, dirt will get piled there, but once we're done excavation and backfill, that backyard will kind of probably not get used that much. You may get a delivery or two where you can boom it over the building, but essentially we'll be a little stuck with using that space. It'll kind of go to waste, but no point until we in finishing it till construction's done.
It just occurred to me, I don't know, Alice, this is it's a bit offbeat, but is there any possibility that Carruthers could be made a 2-way up to that site? Just so that, trucks, so that the trucks that are doing your build and Armstrong, they'll be able to come along Armstrong, so they could just, they would be allowed to come in off Armstrong, as opposed to having everybody. Well, actually, CCOC says they're going to be building their 212 Carruthers from the Bullman Street
Right.
side, so that one won't have trucks. Presumably, there may be some, but there won't have all the trucks coming up Carruthers. But I can just imagine the people on Carruthers are just going to be, if all of the trucks have to come in off Scott Street, southbound, I'm thinking cement, delivery of supplies. I don't know, you could maybe ask Jeff if it's possible to make it sort of a very short 2-way street, construction traffic only kind of thing. Would that help, Jeremy? I don't know whether it says. And it would help if you could get in the rear, I suppose, but you can't do that from the Carruthers side.
Yeah, I mean, just if you put a 2-way only up till basically to 268 Carruthers, and then they go back to 1-way with temporary. I mean, it would be helpful, I'm sure, because then you'd have the construction trucks coming down Armstrong, and then they just stop there and can back up Carruthers rather than doing the loop. Because I don't know how many of them come off Scott as much as they go down the adjacent block, make the left, and come back down Carruthers. That's certainly how I get there every time.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, it is a 1-way, and with all, it's going to be really.
It will be a
jammed.
real problem, yeah, especially if
Yeah.
we have heavy
Think of the
snow in here.
CO2 emissions that we'll save. I don't think it would be
So
too
just
confusing residents. Sorry.
Sorry, so just so I'm clear, where are you suggesting it possibly be 2-way, like from Armstrong to
The 268.
268?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would span 1, 2. Yeah, two houses and a vacant building lot
Right.
Yeah.
on
And
the
then
one side.
a
It's not
couple of
very.
a couple of houses on the other side of the street. The
Right.
new front to back townhouses or front to back semis that were built across the street. I think they're beside the CCOC lot.
Okay.
I don't
Part of the problem, though, is that a lot of people go the wrong way anyway down Carruthers. They were complaining about that at the other meetings, and trying to get construction workers to not go the wrong way down Carruthers and other streets that they do just naturally. So I don't know if that would confuse the issue if it's two-way from, one part and then one way the rest of it. And when your construction workers know that and come out and go the right way, or is it just muddling it up a bit more?
Yeah.
Maybe, as I say, there might be a way to sort of put in a temporary barrier or a bump out kind of thing, a temporary bump out that would prevent people from leaving your site to go the wrong way,
Mhm.
kind of forcing them to go out the right way.
And you would have to, I think, reduce parking. If you were going to make it two-way there, you would have to take away the parking that was from 268 Carruthers all the way to Armstrong, because
Yeah,
there's
on the
not
other
enough
side of the
room.
street. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
one in front of
too
the
narrow.
269 and
There wouldn't
273.
be any parking anyway, because you'd have, I mean, you'll be, building and there'll be people, trucks and all kinds of stuff. Will you need the sidewalk or the part of the road for your staging?
Uh, the building is built fairly close to the road, just giving, with the same setbacks as sort of the adjacent properties. I mean, not an temporary, and not more than temporarily while you're back. I mean, excavation aside, once you're backfilled, probably no, we're not encroaching on the sidewalk.
And can you please try to keep the upright stays off the sidewalk? That was a problem when you were doing 177 Armstrong, because they were right on the sidewalk. A lot of them were bent up and they were real trip hazards. And for a while you put cones on them and then you kind of painted them orange and stuff. So if you can avoid that, or get the ones that go parallel to the sidewalk so that they're not encroaching and tripping people.
You can't put them parallel to the sidewalk because the fence tips over. That's why they have to be perpendicular to the fence. That's what gives them stability upright.
Okay, so can you please keep them off the sidewalk, then those upright stays, please? Because they are a real trip hazard, and in the winter, the plows catch them, etc.
Yeah, we'll do our best. I think the reason for it was the excavation line. Couldn't push them back any farther, but I think on this, I'm just trying to look. We'll see. I see. I'm trying to. I don't really have a. I'm trying to find a drawing that might show how close it is, if it's closer or not than Armstrong was to the street. But, with the excavation being a shorter period, it certainly would be a much shorter thing if they had to be that close. I know it's basically chipping rock is not an exact science. The rock breaks away the way it wants to. And so sometimes I think our excavation hole got a little big just because you can't break off one more inch, it breaks off the next foot, and kind of, so I think the way we had it, we wanted to make sure that the fence was truly stable and it's not going to fall into the hole if you're leaning on it. So we had to push it out a little bit on the sidewalk. But with this being a much shorter excavation period, if it is, it'll be certainly a short period of time. We'll make sure everything's taken care of.
Yeah, well then, if you could, I mean, if you're using it, please get an encroachment permit and do the appropriate signage for it as well.
Okay.
Just to keep people safe, the pedestrians safe.
Yeah.
And if 243 Carruthers gets their building permit, I believe that's the triplex with a 3-bedroom unit. They get priority as far as we're concerned.
243.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had a 3-bedroom. And we and actually CCOC also has 3-bedroom units, so they all get priority in our view.
Let's see where 243 is.
It's a pretty standard single family. I think it has a driveway. I'm pretty sure that's the one. It's Ryan McIntosh, orange. Well, he did the design. He's not the owner.
Mhm.
I think he did the design.
Well, if they're only
Was
at building, if they're only at building permit stage, they could be months. But we've been
I
sitting at
see.
building permit
If
for
it's
like
only
six months.
the triplex, then they don't need a site plan.
mm,
No, it's not necessarily our site plan. Our site plan's been wait for a long time. It's building code services has been quite the. They're not fast. I'll just leave it at that. If they're in for building permit, they might not be out of building permit till we're done, or at least so far along it won't matter into the spring. But
Okay, well,
I'll
I'm
look
just
at it.
warning you.
Okay.
We're serious about 3-bedroom units.
I think out of all of this conversation, the only thing to take away is that winter is going to be a challenge for the
Yeah.
trucks and that. And
Mhm.
so we'll all just keep our heads up to see what's going on.
Yeah, look, I think luckily for us, just the timing, by the time we're done chipping, we're pouring a foundation and you're backfilling, and those are all single trades. So you don't have as much of a large team. Whereas, and then you follow by framing, which is sort of again, a single trade. It's when you get into past framing where you have electricians, plumbers, mechanical, siding and brick, those stuff all at the trade at the same time. That's where it's really jammed up, and we probably won't hit that, certainly with brick and stuff like that, till into the spring. So we'll probably be into April for that kind of stuff. So we're it's going to be single trade, so it'll be a little bit easier, and we'll have excavators on site to clear the snow if to move it.
Yeah, and
Ship
as
the
long
snow
as
off
there's
site if we
no
need to.
snow in April, we're all right.
Well, yeah, that we'll be happy about that too. Yeah, for sure.
So one of the problems that we did have with the building next to this, the 258 Carruthers, was blocking the street and people getting caught and having to back up and some road rage and stuff like that. So if you're blocking the street, can you please get the signage or flagman or something like that to try to give people a warning so that when they're coming down, they know to turn onto Latticer and get out of the way if they can't get down, because it was blocked for, maybe half an hour at a time, which then creates problems. And I know that's not a road closure, but just to be courteous, if you can have someone do some flag activity up at Latticer, would make everyone's life easier.
Yeah, we'll talk. My guess is that was probably during excavation where they're probably loading dump trucks and just that width of the road. If there's a car park on the street and you got a dump truck loading, there's just not enough room to get people around. So we'll
Yeah.
either make accommodations by temporary removal of on-street parking. So you have essentially 2 lanes of traffic, right? That's probably the solution, which should have been executed by them, right?
Yep.
Because if you have one temporarily parked, because you need to be on the building side, which is the drive side. This the way Carruthers works. All the parking's on the east side, and our building's on the west side. So you want to be loading on the west side of the street, right? So then you want traffic traveling on the east. We'll have to get some temporary removal of construction. Where they come along, they put the paper sign over the parking sign and say
Yep.
no parking. Yeah, no parking temporarily while you're doing that. We'll make sure our excavator accounts for the load days. Most of it will be chipping at the start, and then we'll be removing the rock. Yeah, we have some room to store on site, like in the backyard and stuff. But once we have to start excavator loading dump trucks, it's probably getting done. We'll have to close the sidewalk on the west side. Sorry, yeah, the west side. Close the lane of traffic on the west side, and then we'll get temporary openings on the east and push the sidewalk. Yep, pedestrians to the east side as well. For those,
Great.
probably a week of work, I would imagine removing stuff from the site. So
And then please put up the fabric along the fences so that any of the rock chips don't fly out, because they do fly
yeah,
out.
And everything is so close.
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. The demo was an interesting day for us. The building we demoed is so close to the new one at 258 that we had a little bit of debris damage we had to fix, but it's hard to demo something. It's only like 6 inches from our property line. So
Mhm. Mhm. Any other
it could be.
questions? No?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, if you have any afterwards, you can just send them to me and I'm happy to send them to Jeremy.
And
Jeremy, anything else to add?
Well,
Jason?
that's our point person. She's going to be keeping her eye on you, so you be careful.
You
And
can
she
keep
knows how
your
to.
eye on Jay. You won't see me on the site very much. This is Jay's department, so he'll be your guy on the ground. So
Mhm.
he'll be there.
And will he be wearing the white hard hat?
No, that's for city staff.
Oh,
They always walk around the city hall. This is white. It says Ottawa on it. The white one.
oh, yeah, when I visited sites with hard hats, that was when I was at the Fortress of Louisburg. The white hard hats were the people in charge. The yellow hard hats were just the workers.
Yeah, you get a lot of the engineers wear the white hats when they show up on site. I think a lot of the workers wear the yellow ones. But you're right. Maybe I guess the boss wears the white one.
Yeah, if you see me in a hard hat, it'll be white.
Good to know.
Because I don't swing a hammer is what that hard hat means.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
thanks everyone. And thanks a lot, Jason and Jeremy for meeting with us today. And just a reminder, everyone, I'll post this on the Kitchissippi Board YouTube channel in case there are any neighbors that would like to tune in and watch. And as always, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to our office. Happy to help. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone. I'll let you go and have a good evening. Take care.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay,
Cool.
bye.